Yo, what's good, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SVR Podcast. And today we have another underground artist that started his YouTube channel since 2020, which means 2 years ago. He have done two recent features, such as the one with Apxcxlyptic and Sailor Your Love. Anyways, folks, we're not gonna waste any time, man. Let's introduce it. His name is PresFull. Welcome, man, to the podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure to be here. Yeah. Did a feature with Apxcxlyptic. Did a feature with Sailor Your Love, who is not small by any means. Just recently breached 11,000 subscribers on YouTube. A very well-respected name in the nerdcore rap scene, which is the main scene I'm a part of. I don't just stick to nerdcore rap music, however. I do branch out and do like more solo projects and just freestyle type stuff. Like there was not a thing nerdcore related about my feature that I did with Apxcxlyptic, but when I hopped on a song with her, we did an anime rap. It was a good time. Love nerdcore to pieces, and yeah, I just wanted to flesh out those thoughts a bit more. But yeah, absolute pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is PresFull, and yeah, just stoked to be here.
Alright, PresFull. So, basically what I have to do with you is ask you 10 questions regarding about your music, YouTube, and outside of music. So, without any further ado, man, are you ready for the questions?
Absolutely.
First question of the day that we're gonna start off is, what made you got involved with YouTube and music?
Honestly, I grew up watching TV as a kid, then got into watching satellite TV. But I fell out of watching TV hardcore, and I really got into watching YouTube. Our family was we were late bloomers to actually having internet. We didn't get internet until 2013, if you could believe that. And yeah, I remember getting into YouTube, watching that like something fierce, and I've just been pretty much strictly sticking with watching YouTube. Occasionally getting on Netflix, but mainly just sticking to YouTube, like full stop for so long. And that got me, really thinking, why can't I also do this as well? Why can't I jump in and start doing this? And I started with gaming content before getting into music. Spent about 3 years or so, maybe. At least about a year and a half, 2 years doing content actually seriously and like actually pushing it, nice and hard in my life. And did gaming content. Eventually got dissatisfied with that and switched over to music. And I feel so much more fulfilled and happier doing music now. It's been such a great time, and I get to control every step, every stage of the process with the music. What I write, what I record, my delivery, how I spit it, how I get the lyrics out there. The AMV portion I also edit. The only thing that I don't do is actually mix the vocals, well, for the more professional releases. But my own solo works, I'll be trying to mix those to the best of my ability, which I have a bit of experience with, but not much. But yeah, I got into it just through, spending a lot of years just really digesting and taking in as much YouTube content as I could. And I was like, why can't I do this myself? And then I went ahead and started doing it, and then eventually transitioned over into music. Did some rebranding because I used to go by a different name and a different image that I'm not ever really gonna, relay personally through podcasts and stuff like that. Even though that's that juicy information that is really fun to divulge through podcast. I'll go into a bit of my past and history on these, but nothing involving the old brand. I just want that to kind of be like a distant memory for a lot of people who at least know about that image. But yeah, I couldn't be happier doing music, and yeah, that's essentially my answer.
Right. Second question. Now, there's this thing called, reflection, where it basically says a lot about your personality, that, your own thoughts and feelings, in a way. So, how is your personality reflected in music?
How is it reflected in music? Well, let's see. Traditionally, even if I'm rapping for through like a persona or through the perspective of like an anime character or like an anime in general for nerdcore, I try to reflect through that my own interest, my own passions, and like for my solo projects that are literally just me rapping, as the personality of me. Essentially, when I rap, it's just a like musically driven and like, what like better crafted version of what you would normally get from me anyways in my own music. Well, I mean, aside from nerdcore, I mean. But for nerdcore, it's essentially still me. It's me and, my thought process, how I would say things, like just talking with friends and hanging out, talking about anime and anime characters. Just now everything's crafted somewhat meticulously to be a verse or a couple of verses and like a hook for a song. But yeah, you essentially get me both away from and both away from and in music. But you definitely get like a more cleaned up, more like a summarized version of me through my solo works, but you still get me full stop. But yeah, personality wise, yeah, like I said, you essentially just get me throughout. So
Moving on to the next question. So, in outside of music, you have played tons of video games that you play like 24/7. You consider it to be like consistently be more, playable. So, what is your favorite video game to be considered playable?
I would definitely have to say most consistent game for me would be most of the Tony Hawk series growing up. Definitely some of the most enjoyable, replayable games, and just some of the most consistently well-designed games up until like Pro Skater 5, Pro Skater HD, uh, Tony Hawk's Proving Grounds. Project 8 was still pretty good, even though it gets flack too. And Call of Duty up until it recently started teetering off and just got not really stale for me, but they just were making games I just did not remotely care about. And nowadays it's been Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch. I've been playing some like more solo experiences that aren't really PvP driven, like player versus player and like online multiplayer and all that. But yeah, mostly the Tony Hawk series, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, and Overwatch. Love those games to absolute bits. Well, at least the Call of Duty games I actually enjoy, but everything else, yeah, just really can't say enough about. And also the earlier Pro Skater games, the first ever game I ever got into and started playing. Like that was my own game to play, and wasn't just something I was playing at families' places. Which for that was like Mortal Kombat and stuff, and like a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game on like the Super Nintendo. That was great. But yeah, Pro Skater 2, first game I ever had. Such a fantastic game. So damn airtight, tightly designed. Just soundtrack was insane. Not just for the time, but just indefinitely. I literally like had the last song on my Spotify that I just opened up earlier, before starting this interview. Actually, it was Fu Manchu's song called "Evil Eye," which is on the Pro Skater 2 soundtrack, which is why it's one of my favorites on Spotify. It just really influenced my music taste. And yeah, anyways, I'm going off on tangents here. But yeah, definitely the Pro Skater series, especially 2 and 3 were like both great times. 4 was pretty good. So playing 4, I don't know, weirded me out and made me nauseous, but I think that was just the time I was playing it. But yeah, funny little story and tidbit there. But yeah, Pro Skater 2, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, and some more like recent experiences have been an absolute blast for me.
Next question. When you hear a song that has the motivation, you hear the messages that gets you in a way where things like never giving up, keep pushing it forward. So, can you name one song that made you motivated?
Oh yeah. The question literally is one song. I was about to go off on a tangent, but I will detail a few things. It's not just the music in of itself that always is like the inspiration. It could be like the story that the artist has to portray, like Whit Lowry, Hobson, Eminem, and the criticisms he's faced. Just plenty of things that really motivate and inspire for you to push through and achieve your goals and your dreams, no matter what, at any cost possible. And if I were to say one song, I was gonna start listing off different tracks by like popular nerdcore artists. One of the big dogs, one of the kings, named Fable. Fucking phenomenal artist, and he battles things like anxiety and some other things, I believe. And it's really inspiring, his story. But if I were to have to like name a song, a part of me wants to say "I Could Be" by Whit Lowry, but I'm not exactly sure about that one. Um, I'll have to definitely chew on this one, and probably like by the end of these 10 questions, I'll be able to give you an answer on that one. It's hard to really place a song at the moment.
Fifth question. What will be your top 5 rap artist of all time?
Well, in the number 5 spot, Would probably have to go Fable for sure. Just what he does with nerdcore is fucking inspiring. Just knowing his story. Now, rapping, like rapping in of itself, he's very, 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 very good at it. But I'd say there are some people, even in nerdcore, that have like a better like technical skill with it. He's just really good with mixing. He's good with bringing passion into it. He does so much that more than makes up for, some of his raps not being the deepest or most profound, even though his lyrics are still bloody fantastic. But Fable's going to be sitting at the number 5 spot. Number 4, I'd probably have to give to Whit Lowry just because I haven't listened to all of his works, but he's definitely, definitely phenomenal in my eyes. One of the greatest for sure. Whit Lowry just pushes such a fantastic agenda with his music, relaying his own stories. A lot of songs about women and dealing with love and dealing with heartache. And then just some more like serious tracks that are, well, not more serious, but like other serious tracks that had to do more with like music in of itself, his struggle, being evicted, writing through like just different struggles in his own life and time and stuff like that. And my top 5 could very well shift, like, depending on the day you ask me. But yeah, I'll put Whit Lowry at the number 4 spot. Number 3 spot, I'd have to put Zach Boucher. Probably because, well, most definitely because he is fucking insane. Another nerdcore artist. Consistency is not just the perfect word to really describe Zach. It's definitely just the only word in my eyes. Consistently good, consistently dope, intricate flows. He sprinkles some bars in there, but his lyrics are more so like you could take him at face value and they're not really deep, but it's the way he spits them and it's what he chooses to say for each bar to where they never feel like filler. And he pumps out songs like I believe like once every second Friday or something, every other Friday or something like that. So he's getting up like 3 or 4 songs a month, or 2 or 3 songs a month rather, some along one of those lines there. And he's got such a dope, like raspier, like almost like he's whispering throughout almost every track. But every now and again he'll really pull the performance out of him, kind of like that. He'll really give you more of him. Some more like original tracks from him, really rapping as just himself instead of being an anime character would be sick. And if he has any originals like how Rustage and Fable do, I'm definitely gonna have to look for those. But I love his flows, his faster like rapping ability in areas. I have so many verses and so many lines of his memorized. Like him spitting on the Saiyan rap cipher for Dragon Ball Z that was put up on Fable's channel. His intricate flows and the way he almost never pauses in between lines when it's all in like one verse. How he just keeps the ball rolling. Just such a long just description of just what I love about Zach B here, but that's just because there's so much about him to praise. And if I may for a second, just oh yeah, they don't hold a single hope if they're alone. Find a sacrifice. Against this elitist, you will need it. That's my last advice. I'll be undefeated, and I mean it though. I pack a fight, handing everybody one-way tickets to the afterlife. Now they're coming at me, assuming the quick. Nah, practically practice the don't want them over the shit. Getting so impatient, gotta hate I was sober so quick. So I'll let you die for nothing like the Namek TN and his buddy did. Stuff like that. He's got such a dope fucking flow and such an intricately designed and perfect way of rapping in my eyes. Anyways, that's enough about and off Zach B. Although he definitely deserves it. Moving on to number 3, I'll have to put Crypt. I love fast rapping. I love intricate flows. I love bars on bars on bars on bars. I love good writing. I love soulful music that really, gets to like certain issues, that Crypt as an artist and as a person faces. He's got some, more emotional and dark tracks that he's, allowed himself to make recently because he's detailed in songs before how he doesn't want to get into like his more emotional bag because that's hard for him, and he's also not sure how people will take it. But man, me and so many others are so glad that he has. A good while ago, he breached over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He's definitely getting some of the love and some of the recognition he deserves. And I only say some of the recognition and love he deserves because I feel he deserves just okay. Maybe saying he deserves the world is a bit much because no one truly deserves that. No one can really handle that, but he deserves, like, honestly, just as much as the world can give him because he's that dope of a person, a genuinely, like, down-to-earth, super cool dude. Like, yeah, I've even gotten a response from him on Twitter, which was freaking cool. Rapped a fast part to one of his fastest ever verses on a track of his that he did with 3 others called the Four Horsemen. And I spit that for him on a video, and I didn't even do it that well, and he still sent back to me, yo, good stuff, dude. And he's just so cool and down-to-earth. And fuck it, since I'm on this train anyway, I could spit a few of his lyrics. Here we go. Everybody here can example skills that they have. We put it into these bitches out here thinking they can rap. We're like a group of people walking into a chop and no cap attack and eat a bastard that's whack. We're getting in our bags for the rap that a full horseman, a force that is for sure to be gore and shit. Leaving corpses in an assortment of portions to fuck. I can't really do it that well. I'm kind of tired at the moment. But like that should show you how intricate and how like impressive his rapping is when like I could barely even fucking comprehend or wrap my head around doing it. Although, you know, I have nailed it in one take before. It's really impressive stuff. And on my number 2 spot, probably Token. Dude has his own story about him. He's also like a Crypt and like Zach B. Dope flows, very intricate stuff. He can rap seriously. He can also be in his joking bag. And, you know, his come up from just, you know, doing like YouTube rapping videos to just being a literal mainstream artist to the point where, sometime last year or the year before, I think it might have been 2 years ago, I'm not sure, or at least over a year and a half ago, he actually made his own freaking label. Token is such an influence and an inspiration. The man is unfreaking believable with what he's accomplished and what he's achieved, showing that through hard work and dedication, anything is truly possible, especially with the platforms and the resources that we have. Truly anything can be done, and Token is sitting comfortably, at least right now, because like I said, top 5 can change any day, really. But he's sitting comfortably right at this moment in my number 2 spot. And then, seeing as how I'm a fan of my more intricate flows, my faster rapping, and just, you know, layered freaking bars that have like so many different meanings, definitely the king, the fucking goat upon goats, and anyone who is to try to diss him or bring him down or to say that he hasn't earned the spot he's in, and those who just can't comprehend or fathom why he is the goat, the number 1 goat above literally anyone else to ever do it, it baffles my mind how people can't see it, or at least give credit and give merit to him. But Eminem for sure. Eminem is like the fucking man. He really is. Just so many lyrics I've memorized, so much stuff I've got. I mean, rap got anyone? You know, fucking, y'all see him, what I gotta do to get it to the MCP, and innovator, rubber suit, Indian, sage, brick, shell, for the minute, and glue. I'm devastating, never went and demonstrating how to give a motherfucking audience a feeling like it's levitating, never fading, and I know the haters are forever waiting for the day that they can say I felt to be celebrating. Cause another way I'm getting motivated, I make elevated music, you make elevated music, you know, stuff like that. Eminem's just a goat amongst goats. He had to deal with, you know, the whole like racial tension and issues of him being one of the first like big, you know, like white rappers to really like, you know, hit the scene as hard and as heavy as he did. And then he kept that legacy. He kept building up that legacy and he kept growing in popularity because he was different when he was Slim Shady, and you know when he started getting into his way far more lyrical bag, and he started, you know, throwing away, you know, the whole like, you know, joking around all the time bag, and he managed to incorporate that into some more intricate and faster flows, which, you know, his speed impressed people, his ability to craft and bend and shape words to literally fit schemes. He literally like made like the English language his bitch, and that's not something that just anyone can do. Some of the dopest rappers out there are just, they can be fucking insane, but they're honestly just nowhere near, or at least still a good ways off of his level, because he is that amazing, and that's why he's considered the GOAT, not a GOAT, the GOAT, because he's earned every last accolade about him. He's earned every last good word said about him. Eminem is just truly like in a whole different fucking like universe even. I was gonna say like collection of galaxies, but he's far away from any of us, really. No one's touching the king, and that's why he's the king. And yeah, that, as of right now, at least for this interview, at the very least, is a top 5 I'll give you.
Next question. The piece of music do you like the most, and why?
Thinking about it right now, I'd probably have to say No Cigar by Melinsolin, or however you pronounce her name. Another track off of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 soundtrack. I love its message of, yo, other people may try to put you in a box, or may try to say, you know, you don't belong. And people may try to say that being different and conforming to a norm, you know, like being different is a sin, is some of the lyrics. You know, like some of the lyrics are, you know, I don't think contrast is a sin. No, it's not a sin, is what some of the lyrics are. That may not be word for word, but you get what I'm saying. Being different is not bad. If anything, it's the best thing anyone can be. And how it's like, you know, no one should be put in a box. People should be able to express themselves. People should be allowed to pursue whatever they want in life. And they shouldn't have to conform to anything unless it's absolutely necessary. And that's what people who pursue their dreams and passions, you know, not only do they end up achieving a lot, but they did it using the tools we have online, and they did it by doing something, because rap is like one of the things, and music is one of the things to, you know, tell your family and friends about, and have them doubt you and be like, I'm not so sure about that, mate. I mean, Maybe you should, hold down something more substantial and maybe, ponder the idea a bit more. But then you have a lot of people who, see success from literally saying, fuck that noise and pursuing what they want to do. And not only do they end up building something, from it and out of it, but they have fulfillment in their lives and they are happier. They are far happier than honestly those people who were telling them not to do it, to think more about it, or the people who were doubting. They probably, have, missed out on pursuing and chasing their own dreams and passions and hobbies that can turn into a career even. Some people may have, good intentions and may have what's best for you, in mind. But some people are also just bitter, very well could be bitter, and just because their dreams didn't pan out, or maybe if they just secretly have something against you, they're going to try to put you down. But you always have to, push past all of that. Thinking about it right now, probably No Cigar by Melinsalin. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce her name. It sounds cool though. But yeah, I definitely, Mr. SVR, I definitely recommend giving that song a listen to if you get the chance. Here later on, I'll drop that song in your DMs. It is such a good track. Sounds really good. Sonically, it's all there. For to be as good of a piece of music as it is, it's all there. It's all singing. It's all vocals. Dope freaking, a band. On this one, the band being, Melinsalin and all that, and just it's about as music can really get, and it's perfect in my eyes, and it's beautiful because of that. But yeah, that's essentially the response I can give you right now, because again, that's another one I'd have to spend a lot of time thinking about.
Alright. 7th question. Once again, outside of music. Now, since you were little, what was the first ever video game that you got into?
Good thing I already have an answer for this, and I actually talked about this already 2 or 3 times in this interview. At the age of 4, me and my mom walked into a pawn shop, and I saw a game, and I was like, "Yo, that's cool. I want to give that a shot." On the PS1, took it back home, put in the PS1 Slim that we had, PS1 Slim that we had, and played it. And to this day, it's my favorite game of all time because it's literally a perfectly crafted and executed game, and on every front, in my opinion. That has to be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Just such a damn good game, and I'm so glad that Pro Skater 1 and 2 got the remaster / somewhat remake, well, really just a remaster, that they got, and beautiful 4K HD, even though it doesn't have any technology to support 4K, but just hasn't ever looked better, hasn't ever controlled or played better. A lot of the soundtrack is there. All the licensing issues, they had to get a whole bunch of new music on the soundtrack. Oh, and speaking of which, remember how earlier I mentioned Token as my second favorite rapper of all time? Or at least, my number 2 for the top 5?
Yeah.
His song Flamingo is a part of the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster / remake soundtrack, which is dope. And Flamingo is such a good track. Oh, Mercury's another rapper I like. He has a song with Tech 9 and Hobson. Such a huge track, by the way. Such a banger, too. So fucking perfect. His song Bass with Tech 9 and Hobson, also on the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster / remake. So pretty cool stuff there. Just seeing artists I've been listening to for ages actually end up being also tied to something I grew up loving in my childhood and still love to this day. And every now and again, I'll hop on those games and I'll re-experience Pro Skater 2. And the remake and remaster was actually my first time playing Pro Skater 1. So it was dope to see, what preceded my favorite game of all time. It was definitely cool to see where the groundwork had been laid. But yeah, Pro Skater 2 for sure, man.
Next question. So, if you didn't start making music, what would you be doing by then?
I'd probably still be trying to push and pursue gaming content for sure. Or if I wasn't doing just YouTube in general at all, I'd probably just have some job. Or I'd probably still be doing what I'm doing now, living under my mother's roof, helping out with tasks and chores and with babysitting, which is what me and my mom do the most nowadays, is babysit my sister's kids. And I'll be doing that until I eventually either get a job and try to move out, or just try to move out and live off a disability, which I am on SSI, Social Security Income. I am on disability. If you or anyone watching, hasn't heard by now, I do have Tourette syndrome as well as some other disabilities. So it took a good while, but I got approved for being on disability. So that's at least good news. So I'd probably just be either pursuing gaming content, or I wouldn't be doing YouTube at all, or at least not to the extent I used to do it, or do it now with music. And yeah, that's essentially it.
Moving on into the 9th question. I know you haven't dropped anything on your channel or albums, but do you have an upcoming project in works at the moment?
I literally was working on it just last night, and I kind of jumped into it and did a little bit of tweaking and work to it just earlier, just like a few hours ago. But I do have my next nerdcore release. So far, I only have one nerdcore like song, one full song to my name, because I do have like a 40-something second like nerdcore related short that is unlisted and not for the viewing public because I don't think it's that good. But I think eventually I'm going to unlist it and I'm going to promote it for sure so people can see like what was done there. And so people can try to appreciate kind of some, one of my earlier works to see like the progression and the evolution and how I'm coming along with doing music. But yeah, I do have my next nerdcore track in the works, working on the AMV, the audio, the ad libs, the 3 verses, the chorus that my friend is actually hopping on. None of that's going to be revealed. It's not going to be revealed who exactly is on the chorus until the song's out, or else I'd detail that here. And the ad libs, the doubles, the 3 verses, the 3 choruses. And I think that's pretty much everything. And the beat, obviously, was all sent to a mixer by the name of Stark, who I became a contact with through soundbetter.com. But we now are getting, growing a bit closer to each other as, partners in a way, or he's mixing and mastering probably by this point right now. And I'm working on the AMV, but of the video, with lyrics on screen, AMV in the background, dope, cool looking edits, cool looking anime visuals for the character that the song is going to be dedicated to. Definitely a complete flip and different vibe coming on this track. I actually did this track with with more of a harder, lower key, sinister, aggressive kind of delivery. Basically just like that right there. So for anyone who watches this, there's a taste of how I'm going to be coming on the track. But yeah, there's that, and I'm also going to be remastering an old project of mine. Well, somewhat older, a good few months older now. I'm gonna be remaking and remastering that. Same lyrics, same flow, same delivery. I'm not going to be polishing it up too much, except for the quality of it. And I'm only going to be polishing up my delivery, but I want it to be kind of a moment in time captured as to how I was writing and what my timing was and how good I was then. And I'm going to be keeping this series running. I'll go ahead and just detail this here. The track is called Evolve, and I decided just sometime in the recent week or so, maybe 2 weeks, but I think in the last few days actually, I made a decision, the executive decision. I'm going to be making it an ongoing, on-running series. So each track is going to show how I'm evolving as a rap artist. The series is going to be called Evolve. It's going to be Evolve 2, Evolve 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and all that. Each one is going to show, and it's going to capture that moment in time of right in that moment, how I'm spitting, how I'm flowing. It's going to show me getting better. And each one is going to capture in that moment of time where I was at and how good I was at that period. So those are the two upcoming tracks. One that I can't really tell you a lot about, and then one that has already been released and it's just getting the remaster and rework treatment. So really excited and happy about working on both these projects, and they're both gonna bang, and I know they're both gonna get some love. And definitely this next nerdcore track I think is gonna do at least somewhat well to my expectations. So yeah, very excited about both of those.
And finally, last but not least, the final question of the day that we're gonna end, that will be, what's next for you in YouTube and music scene?
Okay, interesting question here. Very interesting indeed. So, like I just discussed with the 2 new rap projects, those, and I'm going to be continuing with music obviously after those. I'm gonna stay cooking up reactions and music, and yeah, just want to talk about reactions for a second. I love doing those. One of my last reactions to a big cipher by a nerdcore artist by the name of Rustage, his One Piece Supernova cipher, which is meant to cover the worst, in quotations here, the worst generation of the One Piece cast, which is a lot of people, including the main character Luffy. And my reaction to this was a huge cipher. Rushes is a huge deal. He's got over 1 million subscribers in Nerdcore, which is pretty big, because we're not exactly a huge community. At least that's the impression I get. We're definitely not small potatoes, small numbers, and the music's only getting better and artists are improving, but we're getting somewhere. We're definitely getting there. My reaction to it has just recently, in the last day or two, hit over 3,000 views, which is crazy because I'm barely at 500 subscribers. I'm 9 or 10 subscribers away from. Last time I checked, I was at 490 subscribers, so I was at 351 subscribers before that reaction dropped, and that, along with just doing YouTube Shorts, has gotten me a few subscribers, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50, however many. I've gotten around 200 subscribers probably just from that one Rustage Supernova rap cipher reaction. So that's been crazy growth for me. And also, this big artist that I mentioned by the name of Sailor Your Love, if I mentioned her by name, I'm pretty sure I did. She has actually agreed to do more music with me. I get into details, but something coming up on the channel sometime in the next few months is going to be involving her. And like I said, she's a big artist, and she's going to be promoting this on Twitter. And so that's going to be, getting, more of the nerdcore community, more of their eyes on me once again. She promoted the heck out of the song that I did with her, or she did with me, I should say, because it's her song, which was the Gojo song for Jujutsu Kaisen. Banger of a track there. I definitely recommend giving that a listen. And she actually she had as her pinned tweet for a while. I'm not sure if she just forgot to unpin it after a little bit, but a Naruto track that I did, my first ever debut proper nerdcore track. That was also mixed by the guy that's mixing my next nerdcore song I mentioned. He goes by Stark. If I didn't mention his name, I probably did, but Stark mixed that one as well. His mixing is phenomenal. Turned out to be a banger. She promoted the heck out of that, and she's been basically like a mentor of the sorts to me. Just like my friend who's going to be on the chorus for my next upcoming nerdcore track. He's been like more of the music theory and more of the crafting the music kind of mentor. And she's been the here's how you should be in the public eye, and here's how you should go about putting yourself out there as a nerdcore artist. She's been like a mentor to me in that regard. So lucky to have two wonderful friends like her and my other friend want to help me with almost the business side of things. Definitely have a good team supporting me, a good team behind my back. I've already had such a crazy and honestly insane opportunity with her because she's had some names on songs with her that are way bigger than she is, or at least a good, fair, decent bit bigger than her. She's garnered a lot of respect, and she's in with, and she's fairly close to at least, and is at least on messaging and speaking terms with some of my idols. And she, in a way, was an idol of mine, or at least I was bumping her music like crazy before she said, "Yo, let's do music together," because she heard the very start of the Naruto track I just mentioned a few moments ago, and she was impressed enough to be like, "Yo, we should make music. Let's do it." And that was insane. That's still insane to me because a lot of people that are down here in the trenches of YouTube aren't really going to be so lucky to get such an opportunity as that, or maybe aren't skilled enough to need to keep working on the craft. Not throwing shade or shots at anyone, but if you don't have what it takes just yet, keep working on it and hone that craft until you get to that point. I'm not saying I have what it takes. Well, I have what it takes. That's why I'm garnering some attention. That's why Sailor believes in me enough to take the risk of putting me on a song with her on her channel. Her public image is honestly at stake there, and she would have had her timeline of events and her schedule kind of fucked up if she really worked on this track with me, and I gave her a shit verse. So she was banking on me to deliver and pull through, and luckily I did. Well, not luckily, because I knew what I was doing. I knew what was at stake there, but thankfully, at least I did. So yeah, it's so dope that I have such a great team behind me. But yeah, what's next for me on YouTube is her being involved with some future music, and the next two tracks I mentioned, and just steadily continuing on with music after those two tracks, and reaction videos, and that's pretty much it. I'm just kind of chilling in Valorant right now. Gonna build up the numbers, gonna grow, gonna build up a devoted and dedicated fan base. I try to reply and respond to whatever comments I can on anything I drop. Want to show people how much I care about them, as well as how much I care about the numbers going up, because that's how you build a good fan base. There's a tip for all of you out there: connect with your fan base, connect with your audience, and they will support you through just about thick and thin. Just don't get yourself in any trouble. Keep your wits about you, and you'll be fine, basically, if you have a good, loyal fan base behind you. Some slip-ups, may be fine, but still try to avoid those at all costs, is what I'm saying. Just be careful. But yeah, that's pretty much my answer for number 10.
That's gonna be it, folks. PresFull, if you have anything to say towards the outro, can you make it somehow?
Oh yeah, for sure. Listen, to anyone out there, I was always doubtful, and I was always thinking that there was no hope for me on this platform. And now that I'm catching glimpses of hope, I gotta remember a couple of things. I gotta remember what it's taken to get here. I've gotta remember who's by my side. I gotta remember to never take them for granted, never take what I have for granted. I've also got to keep in mind there's so many different things. I'm spacing out mentally right now, but yeah, just keep at whatever it is you want to do. Even if you have to work a 9 to 5 or 2 other jobs like Crypt has honestly done. If any of you know Crypt, and I was talking about him earlier and how crazy he is, his work ethic is also insane. He's had to work 2 jobs and do music, just to make ends meet. Whatever you have to do, just never give up on your dreams and your passions, because those are what are going to give you the most fulfillment and make you the happiest in life. If you enjoy your 9 to 5 and what your job is, let that be icing on the cake, but don't ever stop pursuing and chasing your passions and your dreams as long as you have them, and you want to take the full plunge to eventually someday make that something more than just like a side project or a side hustle or a hobby. Really work at it. Push for greatness, and you will see greatness. Push for what you want, and eventually someday, through blood, sweat, tears, no matter what it takes, you may even get lucky like I did with Sailor, and get like a decent little jump, a decent little boost. Who knows what ends up happening? but you're never going to know if you do not try and you do not give it the time of day. Keep your wits about you. Try not to get in any trouble. Stay safe out there, because of the world we live in nowadays with COVID and whatever strand is currently, running rampant. And yeah, just chase and follow and pursue your dreams. And just try your best to make yourself happy, but do not neglect and do not take for granted anything you have or those around you, especially your real ones, your friends, your home slices, all that. Just, yeah, plenty more I can say here, but yeah, that's essentially the gist of it. Oh, I also forgot to say, thank you so much for having me on here. This should have been in my rambling just now, but thank you so much for having me on here. Absolute honor, absolute pleasure. You did a great job hosting this. You kept it together better than I feel a lot of people would. And just thank you for having me on this, giving me a chance to, just talk, hang out for a bit, and also give a bit more insight into some current happenings as well as just some things involving myself and not really too much, involving my past. But if you ever have me on for like a part 2 or an episode 2, or just, if you ever have me on the podcast in the future, I'd love to flesh out some more concepts and ideas with you. And yeah, just again, thank you so much for having me on. Sorry, go ahead and close this off.
For sure, man, no problem. And I will see you guys into the next episode of the SVR Podcast. See you later, and goodbye.
Yeah.